In the vast account of history, there exists a tale that continues to echo through the ages, the story of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. Imagine a world from long ago where humanity had veered far off the path of righteousness. In this time of darkness, Allah chose a man to guide his people back to the light, Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. He was not just any prophet, but the first great messenger after Prophet Adam alayhi salam. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam held a special place in Allah's grand plan. Imagine being chosen by the creator of the universe to serve as his messenger. A beautiful hadith in Sahih Muslim reveals, "O Nuh, you were the first on earth to be made a Rasul." This high honor carried a significant responsibility, a weight almost unimaginable. The people of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam were not just making small mistakes, they had plunged into the depths of spiritual ignorance and disobedience. The path of monotheism, once clear and bright, had become overgrown with the thorns of idol worship and superstition. Prophet Nuh's community had inherited the teachings of their forefather, Prophet Adam alayhi salam. But over time, they twisted those teachings, allowing corruption to spread. False idols began to appear everywhere. These idols were lifeless stones and wooden figures, crafted by human hands, but people bowed down to them as if they possessed power. They believed these idols could control rain, grant children, or even protect them from misfortune. What was once a pure belief in the oneness of Allah had been replaced by a religion of superstition, where the truth was obscured by countless lies. The names of the idols themselves carried a false sense of reverence. Some historians and scholars suggest that the idols worshipped during this time were named after righteous men who had passed away, their memories twisted into symbols of false divinity. The community believed that by honoring these figures through statues, they were bringing themselves closer to the divine. In reality, they were drifting further from Allah's guidance. This was not just a community in error, it was a society deeply entrenched in falsehood. The idea of submission to the one true God had become a distant memory. Allah's commands had been forgotten, His mercy ignored, and His truth buried under layers of arrogance, ignorance, and pride. It was in this setting that Allah chose Prophet Nuh alayhi salam to bring the people back to the straight path, back to the truth that had been clouded for so long. Despite the spiritual decay around him, Prophet Nuh alayhi salam took on the enormous task of calling his people back to Allah. It was a mission filled with hardship, but his resolve was unshakable. Imagine standing alone, day after day, delivering the same message of truth to a crowd that was indifferent at best and hostile at worst. Yet Prophet Nuh alayhi salam was patient. He understood the gravity of his mission, knowing that he had been chosen by Allah himself to bring the people back to the light. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam was not just a messenger, he was a beacon in the overwhelming darkness that surrounded his people. He spoke with wisdom and compassion, appealing to their sense of reason, urging them to remember Allah's mercy and the peace that comes from faith. He reminded them that Allah is the most forgiving, ready to accept their repentance if they would only turn away from their false gods and return to the path of righteousness. But his message was not well received. The people, consumed by their arrogance and attachment to their idols, were not ready to listen. They mocked Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, belittling his message and dismissing his efforts. Yet he continued, undeterred by their scorn. With each rejection, he only grew more determined, knowing that he was carrying out Allah's will. It wasn't just about calling them to the truth, it was about saving them from the inevitable consequences of their rebellion against Allah. In the Quran, Allah describes Prophet Nuh alayhi salam pleading with his people, "O my people, worship Allah, you have no God but Him. I fear for you the punishment of a grievous day." His voice was filled with sincerity, and his message was simple: return to the one true God before it's too late. The arrogance of the people, especially their leaders, reached new heights. It wasn't the average folk who spearheaded the rejection of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. It was the wealthy, the powerful, and the so-called elite. They were the ones who saw themselves as untouchable, too proud to humble themselves before Allah. To them, the message of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam was not just something to ignore, it was something to mock. They couldn't comprehend why anyone would follow Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, especially since many of his followers were the poor and downtrodden. In their minds, social status and wealth equaled righteousness, and since Nuh's followers were not wealthy, they dismissed him and his message outright. Their blindness to the truth led them to say things like, "Shall we believe in you, when the meanest of the people follow you?" To them, the truth was worthless if it wasn't wrapped in wealth and influence. Their mockery wasn't just verbal, it was personal. They insulted Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, taunting him, and trying to make a public spectacle of his mission. They would say, "You are just a man like us. If Allah wanted to guide us, He would have sent angels." They questioned His authority and the divine nature of His message, making a mockery of the very idea that someone as ordinary as Prophet Nuh alayhi salam could be a messenger of Allah. But Prophet Nuh alayhi salam did not waver. He looked his critics in the eye and responded with courage and conviction, "I am only a clear warner." His answer was not just to the powerful of his time, it resonates through history. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam made it clear that the truth was not about status, wealth, or influence. It was about sincerity, faith, and a willingness to submit to Allah's will, no matter who you were. Standing firm in the face of ridicule takes courage, but Prophet Nuh alayhi salam had more than just courage, he had unshakable faith in Allah. The leaders may have mocked him, the influential may have sneered, but Prophet Nuh alayhi salam knew that the hearts of those who believed, no matter how poor or insignificant they appeared in society, were precious in the sight of Allah. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam had no illusions about the difficulty of his mission. He knew the odds were stacked against him, but his reliance was not on worldly power or influence, it was on Allah. His faith was like a fortress, built strong and unmovable, standing against the winds of arrogance and pride. When the leaders demanded that he dismiss the poor and weak who followed him, he refused, saying, "I will not drive away those who believe. They are surely going to meet their Lord, but I see that you are a people who are ignorant." This moment is a powerful testament to the unwavering dedication of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. He stood firm in his commitment to truth and justice, even when it meant standing against the most powerful people of his time. In this stance, he exemplified what it means to truly trust in Allah's judgment and not be swayed by the opinions of men. His courage serves as an inspiration for all believers to stand for the truth, no matter the opposition. As the people continued to reject Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, despite his endless patience and dedication, the time came for Allah's decree to unfold. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, decided that the persistent disobedience and arrogance of the people could no longer go unpunished. The rejection of truth had reached a point where only divine intervention could purify the earth from the corruption that had spread like wildfire. Allah commanded Prophet Nuh alayhi salam to build a massive ship, a great ark. This was not just any ordinary vessel. It was to be a monumental structure, capable of surviving the great flood that Allah would soon send as a punishment for the people's transgressions. The task must have seemed monumental. Picture Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, an elderly man, being tasked with constructing a gigantic ship with his own hands. But he did not question Allah's command. He set to work, trusting in Allah's plan, knowing that this was not just a task but a divine mission that would save the true believers. As Prophet Nuh alayhi salam diligently built the ark, the disbelievers intensified their mockery. Every time they passed by, they would ridicule him. Imagine the scene, a prophet of Allah, in the middle of a dry land, far from any sea or river, building a massive ship. The people scoffed at him, saying, "Why are you building this boat in the middle of nowhere? You really think water will come to this place?" Their mockery knew no bounds. But Prophet Nuh alayhi salam remained focused. He understood that Allah's plans were beyond human comprehension, and what seemed impossible to the people was simply part of Allah's test of faith. Despite the taunts and ridicule, Prophet Nuh alayhi salam continued with his task. He knew that Allah had a purpose and a plan. The ark was not just a physical structure, it was a symbol of Allah's protection, a beacon of hope in the coming storm of divine retribution. While the disbelievers laughed, Prophet Nuh alayhi salam worked tirelessly, knowing that the time of Allah's command was drawing near. Then, the moment of truth arrived. One day the skies darkened and the heavens opened with a deluge of rain, unlike anything the people had ever seen. It wasn't just the rain from above, the earth itself began to release water from within. Springs burst forth from the ground, and water surged from every direction. What had once been dry land quickly turned into a sea of rising waters, as if the earth itself was crying out in response to the wickedness of its inhabitants. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam had been given a final command from Allah. He was to gather his family, the believers who had remained loyal to him, and pairs of every animal species. Allah, in His mercy, had decreed that 2 of every kind of animal would be saved, ensuring the continuation of life after the flood. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam obeyed without hesitation. As the floodwaters began to rise, he called out to the believers and brought them aboard the ark. Animals of all kinds followed in pairs, guided by the unseen command of Allah, finding their place on the ark. the last refuge from the impending flood. Meanwhile, the disbelievers, those who had mocked and ridiculed Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, were now facing the terrifying reality of the flood. The rain kept pouring and the waters kept rising. There was no escape. The very people who had laughed at the idea of a flood were now scrambling for survival, but it was too late. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam and those aboard the ark were safe, protected by Allah's promise. But outside, the disbelievers found themselves engulfed by the waters, with no refuge from the punishment that had been foretold. After what must have felt like an eternity, the rains ceased, and the floodwaters began to subside. Allah, in His power, commanded the earth to swallow up its water and the skies to withhold their rain. The flood that had covered the land, erasing the traces of the disobedient, slowly receded. The Quran captures this moment with profound clarity. And it was said, "O earth, swallow up your water, and O sky, withhold your rain," and the water was made to subside, and the matter was ended. The ark rested on Mount Judy, and it was said, "Away with the wrongdoing people." The ark, guided by Allah's will, came to rest on the heights of Mount Judy, a symbolic end to the journey of faith and perseverance. For Prophet Nuh alayhi salam and the believers, this was not just the end of the flood, it was the beginning of a new chapter. As the waters retreated and the land re-emerged, they stepped out of the ark onto dry land, survivors of a divine trial. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam had not only saved his family and the believers, but had preserved life itself by carrying pairs of every species aboard the ark. Because of his role in saving humanity, Prophet Nuh alayhi salam is often referred to as the second father of mankind, or the second Adam through him. Allah ensured the continuation of human life and the renewal of faith on earth. His story stands as a testament to the power of faith and the mercy of Allah, who guides and protects those who remain steadfast in their belief. The story of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam is filled with profound lessons that resonate across time. One of the first lessons we learn is about individual responsibility. Each person is accountable for their own actions before Allah. The righteousness of a father cannot save a sinful son, and the virtue of a son cannot redeem a father's wrongdoings. This becomes evident when we reflect on the fate of Nuh's own son, who, despite having a prophet as a father, chose to reject the message and perished in the flood. It teaches us that no one can rely on the deeds of others to secure their own salvation. Each person must strive for righteousness themselves. Another key lesson is the importance of surrounding oneself with good company. The story of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam emphasizes the dangers of associating with corrupt or misguided individuals. Staying in bad company is even more dangerous than consuming poison, for while poison may harm the body, evil companions can corrupt the soul. Nuh's community was led astray by those who clung to their false idols and resisted the truth. In contrast, those who followed Prophet Nuh alayhi salam were saved, not just physically but spiritually, as they chose to believe and stand firm in the face of ridicule. We also learn from this story the significance of preparation and action, even when one has complete trust in Allah. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam trusted in Allah's promise, but he also took the necessary steps to build the ark. His trust in Allah did not mean inaction, it meant working diligently with full reliance on Allah's guidance. The building of the ark serves as a reminder that while we place our trust in Allah, we must also put in the effort required to achieve our goals and safeguard ourselves from harm. There is also a discussion about the extent of the flood, whether it covered the entire world or just the region where Prophet Nuh alayhi salam lived. Some scholars suggest that the flood may have been a localized event, affecting the area where the people of Nuh resided. Regardless of the flood's geographic scope, the lessons we derive from the story are universal and timeless. The flood serves as a powerful reminder of the consequences of rejecting divine guidance and the mercy of Allah that awaits those who believe. Finally, the Quran provides an astonishing fact about Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. He preached to his people for an extraordinary length of time. The Quran states, "We sent Nuh to his people, and he lived among them for 1,000 years minus 50. This means that Prophet Nuh alayhi salam spent 950 years calling his people to the truth, a period that seems almost unimaginable to us today. Yet, in those times, lifespans were much longer, and Nuh's extended life was a special blessing from Allah. This long life reflects not only Allah's favor upon Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, but also the immense patience and perseverance required to fulfill his mission. Despite the challenges and constant rejection, Prophet Nuh alayhi salam remained steadfast in his call, a shining example of endurance and unwavering faith. One of the enduring questions surrounding the story of Prophet Nuh alayhis salam is the extent of the flood that Allah sent as punishment. Was this flood a global event that covered the entire earth? Or was it a more localized catastrophe focused on the region where Prophet Nuh alayhis salam and his people lived? Scholars and historians have debated this question for centuries, and while there is no definitive answer, the Quran and Islamic tradition offer clues that allow for both interpretations. Some scholars argue that the flood covered the whole earth, wiping out all of humanity except for Prophet Nuh alayhis salam, his family, and the believers who boarded the ark. According to this view, the flood was a complete reset for humanity, erasing all traces of the corrupt society that had turned away from Allah's guidance. The idea of a global flood also aligns with stories from other ancient civilizations, which tell of great floods that covered the earth. This view suggests that the flood was a worldwide event, a universal punishment for the widespread disobedience of mankind at that time. However, other scholars believe that the flood may have been regional, affecting only the area where Prophet Nuh alayhis salam and his people lived. They argue that the primary purpose of the flood was to punish the specific community that had rejected Nuh's message rather than all of humanity. According to this view, the floodwaters could have been confined to a particular region, sparing other parts of the world. Some researchers, including geologists and historians, point to evidence of significant flooding in the ancient Near East, suggesting that the flood may have been a localized event that devastated the area where Prophet Nuh alayhis salam lived. Regardless of whether the flood was global or regional, the most important aspect of the story is the lesson it teaches. The flood was not just a physical event, it was a powerful manifestation of Allah's justice and mercy. It serves as a reminder that disobedience to Allah's commands has consequences, and that those who reject the truth will ultimately face His judgment. At the same time, it shows us that Allah's mercy is boundless, for He protected those who believed, allowing them to start anew after the flood. Whether the flood covered the whole earth or just a portion of it, its message remains timeless. Faith in Allah is the only true refuge from the storms of life. Another remarkable aspect of the story of Prophet Nuh alayhis salam is the extraordinary length of his life. The Quran tells us that Prophet Nuh alayhis salam spent a staggering 950 years preaching to his people. We sent Nuh to his people, and he lived among them for 1,000 years minus 50. This incredibly long lifespan may seem unimaginable to us today, but it reflects the unique circumstances of the time and Allah's special favor upon Prophet Nuh alayhis salam. In those early days of humanity, people lived much longer than we do now. Some scholars believe that this was because human bodies were stronger and more resilient during the early stages of creation. Others suggest that lifespans were extended to allow people more time to learn, grow, and fulfill their duties to Allah. Whatever the reason, it's clear that Prophet Nuh alayhis salam was granted an exceptional lifespan to carry out his monumental mission. Imagine the level of patience and perseverance required to spend nearly a millennium calling people to the truth, only to face constant rejection and mockery. Prophet Nuh alayhis salam wasn't just preaching for a few years or even a few decades. He spent almost 1,000 years tirelessly urging his people to return to Allah. This long life wasn't just a blessing, it was a test of endurance, faith, and dedication. And despite the challenges, Prophet Nuh alayhis salam never wavered. His story stands as a powerful reminder that true success lies not in worldly accomplishments, but in remaining steadfast in faith and fulfilling one's duty to Allah, no matter how long the journey may be. In addition to the length of his life, Prophet Nuh alayhis salam's story highlights the immense patience required to guide people who are deeply entrenched in ignorance and falsehood. For 950 years, Prophet Nuh alayhis salam called his people to the truth, yet only a small number responded. Most of his community rejected him outright, ridiculing his message and turning their backs on the path of righteousness. Despite this, Prophet Nuh alayhis salam remained committed to his mission, never giving up hope that some of his people might turn to Allah before it was too late. The Quran's emphasis on the length of Prophet Nuh alayhis salam's life also serves as a reminder that Allah's timeline is not like ours. In today's fast-paced world, we often expect quick results and instant gratification, but Prophet Nuh alayhis salam's story teaches us that sometimes Allah's plans take time. Patience and perseverance are key virtues for believers, and even if success isn't immediate, we must continue to strive for the truth, trusting that Allah's wisdom is beyond our understanding. The story of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam holds such immense importance in Islam that it is mentioned throughout the Quran, across 28 different chapters. His name is referenced 43 times, highlighting the profound impact his life and mission had on the history of humanity and the lessons we can draw from it. This frequent mention of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam emphasizes the timeless nature of his story and the essential truths it conveys about faith, perseverance, and the consequences of rejecting divine guidance. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam is often seen as a pivotal figure in the lineage of the prophets. He was the first major messenger after Prophet Adam alayhi salam, and his mission set a precedent for the prophets who followed him. The struggles he faced in calling his people to the truth are echoed in the lives of later prophets, including Ibrahim, Musa, and even the final prophet, Muhammad, peace be upon him. In this way, Prophet Nuh alayhi salam serves as a role model for all believers, especially those who take on the task of guiding others toward Allah. His story is not just a tale of punishment and destruction, it is a story of hope, resilience, and divine mercy. Despite the overwhelming rejection he faced, Prophet Nuh alayhi salam never lost faith in Allah's plan. His unwavering dedication to his mission is a reminder to all of us that no matter how challenging the path may be, we must always trust in Allah's wisdom and remain committed to doing what is right. The frequent mention of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam in the Quran also underscores the universal themes of his story. The challenges he faced calling people back to the truth, standing firm in the face of rejection, and enduring hardship for the sake of Allah are struggles that every believer will encounter at some point in their life. His story is a reminder that even when the odds seem insurmountable, faith in Allah is the ultimate source of strength and guidance. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam's role as a second father of mankind, or second Adam, also carries great significance. After the flood, he and his followers were tasked with rebuilding humanity, creating a new society based on faith and obedience to Allah. In this way, Prophet Nuh alayhi salam's mission was not just about saving the believers from the flood. It was about preserving the knowledge of Allah's guidance and ensuring that future generations could learn from the mistakes of the past. This responsibility of guiding humanity toward the straight path has been passed down through the prophets, making Prophet Nuh alayhi salam a key figure in the history of divine revelation. Subscribe for more powerful stories of faith, resilience, and divine lessons.